Hey guys, how you doing? A lot of you have been asking for an update as to what's going on with the Blackhorse L-39 Turbine that I've been working on. So I'm going to give you a quick update here. A big shout out to Daniel. Daniel, if I butcher your name, please don't kill me. I believe it's Daniel Ralefeta, if I'm not mistaken. Daniel's from South Africa, and we've been chatting back and forth on Facebook Messenger. He'd built one of these as well as one of his buddies back at Club Out in South Africa, and he's been kind enough to message me, send me a few little tips and tricks that he came across as he was building. So much thanks. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel, so guys, check him out, subscribe. Super awesome guy. Anyways, so here's the updates. So I've done one wing so far, and one of the things that I did come across, we'll start with the ailerons real quick. So this one I haven't put in the servos yet, but just so that you guys can see, so this was actually a solid piece that went right across. So I actually had to use a sanding wheel on my Dremel to sand that out. The problem that I found is that once the servo arm and the linkage goes in, depending on the length of your servo arm, your rod is going to hit this, okay, just because of the angle of attack here. So anyways, what I had to do here, as you can see, is cut this out completely so that this rod doesn't hit here. You can avoid that by using a longer servo arm, but I didn't feel like buying new servo arms. I kind of like the ones that came with my servos. Okay, so that's the ailerons. As far as the flaps were concerned, pretty straightforward. Just be mindful though that if you're using large Dubro ball links like this, it won't fit in this little clevis that they have. So these ball links are actually the original that comes with the kit, and I use these on this plane. I never used them on my Viper from Blackhorse because I wasn't crazy about these ball links, but given the limitations that I had to deal with here, that's why I went with them. Okay, retracts. These are the stock retracts. What I would suggest that you do is this here, this sort of collar here, it actually screws into this shaft, and they're very fine threads, and they've been known to come off because when all of the impact comes down on this wheel, I can't push it because of how stiff it is, it could cause this to kind of pull out or strip to a certain extent. And I've seen this happen to Daniel in South Africa. So two different options. You can either order retracts from Phoenix Models. Actually order the BAE Hawk main landing gears. They fit into here, pretty much look exactly the same. Or the other option that I decided to try was I used thin CA, okay, and I just wicked it into here and then used some accelerant to get that to kind of harden up. Also, these are all, I hate that they did this, but it is what it is, C-clips that they have, and there's C-clips on either sides of this trailing link. Problem that I don't like with this is that there's a lot of pressure here. This plane's probably going to be around 25 pounds or so, I believe wet weight. So you've got a lot of pressure that's going to be on these connectors here. I don't trust that. So I put CA on all of these and then just accelerant. Just remember when you do this to move the actual mechanism itself back and forth so that it doesn't seize up, and you'll be fine. Next thing, the actual wheels themselves. Okay. I'm going to take another one here so that you can actually see what it looks like. Okay. So you've got two examples here. So this I have not modified yet. This one I did modify. Now the difference between these two is obviously, again, the C-clip, right? I know Blackhorse likes to use C-clips on their retracts all of a sudden. Blackhorse, don't do it, don't move. Anyways, the reason why I decided to change this out and use this, and what this is actually the nose gear pin from the Freewing Avanti. It's the same nose gear pin that's in the Freewing A10. It's got a little bit of a lip to it, so let me just show you if I can find one, because I ordered a bunch here. Okay. Okay, so that's it. Okay, you can see a little bit of a lip there. Then the reason why I like that is because you've got again, 25 pounds of weight plus the force of the plane coming in, let's say hot or hard. And let's say you land like this or like this, more so like this. You've got all that pressure and all that weight coming down, and the only thing that's holding it is that little C-clip. Not a good idea. So what I decided to do was, like I said, I took this pin here. It's got a bit of a head on it, and this head is about 1 millimeter wider than the hole that's actually in this wheel. Okay. The other thing too is, if you look at this, it spins fairly freely. If you look at this, it doesn't spin as easily, and the reason for that is that there's a lot of pressure that this C-clip adds to the wheel being compressed to the brake drum. So by putting this in, you can lengthen the pin a little bit. It frees up the wheel a bit more. Also, what I'd suggest is when you disassemble this, just wipe it out, clean it out, because there is a little bit of shavings or whatever from the machining, and that will help the freer movement of the retract. Okay. Also, these bolts here on the retract, these ones that you're seeing here, and I can't point to the other one because I can't do this with two hands or with one hand. Just double check these. I pulled one out. It does have Loctite on it, and the metal's not the greatest. So once I saw that one had Loctite on it, I just left it alone. And just make sure I tighten down all of them all the way around. Okay. Additionally, in this trunnion here, there is a set screw to hold this retract in place or in the proper orientation. There is no Loctite on that, so again, make sure you Loctite it. There's another screw that goes crossways that tightens down on the trunnion here. The metal that's on that kind of sucks, but it is in tight, so I would leave that one alone. Alright, turbine. So this plane calls for an 80 Newton turbine. I decided to go with a 120. That was a mistake. But you guys know me, I like to push the limits. The pipe that I have, when I spoke to a bunch of guys, just put a question out there on forums on Facebook, and apparently the pipe that I have is too small. So this is a 60, I think it was about a 60 diameter pipe, and apparently I need a minimum of 80. So basically the opening here needs to be as big as the outer heat shield, I guess you could call it, for this pipe. So we're gonna have to redo the pipe. All right, turning to the rudders, elevator, was pretty straightforward there. No issues that I found with regards to that. They were, like I said, everything worked pretty easily. The one thing though that I would recommend is when you're hanging the hinges, like normally you glue one side of the hinges first, let's say on the surface, and then you wait till that dries, and obviously you glue it to the rest of the wing. Great way to do it. Works perfect. With these hinges here, these sort of V hinges, these flaps, they're not really Fowler flaps. Actually, I shouldn't do that, but anyways, they're not really Fowler flaps. But when you have V hinges like this, the best, I think, way to do it is heat up some Vaseline, and just put it on the knuckles, obviously, the hinges. But instead of gluing one side first and waiting till it dries, don't do it. Glue both of them at the same time. Just use a CA or an epoxy, more so an epoxy, which is what I use. Use an epoxy that is not going to be fast drying. That way you can manipulate and move things around, so that you can get a nice smooth motion, especially when you've got like 4 hinges going across like that. And I made a mistake and screwed up when I did it the original way that I did these. So just put the CA on, or sorry, put your epoxy, slow drying epoxy, on both sides of the hinges, and it'll work better, I think. What else was I supposed to tell you guys? Oh, yes. Hang on one second. All right. I'm going to come back in 1 second, guys. Okay. The other thing that I noticed on this kit, and I don't know if it's just mine or if it isn't, I really don't know, but the sort of intake cowling, if you will, I don't know what the proper term is for it. Just trying to had it on the wrong side, I think. Yeah. So that's the right side. You see that gap there? All along the side? I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. And I don't know if that's a problem in the molding or how it was designed. Like, I don't know. I'm going to have to check with some of the other guys out there that got this kit and see if theirs basically is the same. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to address that. The other thing that I was going to do is, on most L-39s, there's a little bit of a chrome lip right at the front of the intake, and it doesn't have it here. You can kind of see it here on the Freewing L-39, and I like that look, so we're going to have to do some paint work there. And other than that, that's the update. So it's coming along slowly, but we'll get it done. Anyways, that's the update, guys. Houston out.